Is it worth it to stay on property at Hershey? Stay tuned to find out as Daniels do a trip to Hershey. Okay, this trip was in 2022 in August, which might mean my memory is not completely on point with every detail of what we did. It also means my kids were 2 years younger, which in kid years, that's a lot of changes, and they're probably going to kill me for some of these pictures and footage. But it was our summer vacation. It was also a birthday celebration. So here we go. We stayed in Hershey Lodge. We did our research to compare Hershey Lodge to the camping situation there in the Hotel Hershey. And with young kids, we definitely picked Hershey Lodge, which we will talk about later as to is it worth it to stay on site and why did we ultimately make that decision. We had a 5-night trip scheduled, and just to give you a quick overview, we did the preview trip to the park the night we arrived, and then the next day we went to Hershey all day, or as long as we could take because it was so hot. And then on Wednesday we went to Lancaster, and we saw a play there at the Sight and Sound Theater, and we did some of the Amish stuff there. And then Thursday we did the water park inside of Hershey for most of the day, and then we came back, got changed and went back to the park for the rest of the evening. And then on Friday we hung out at the pool and then went and did the Chocolate World stuff at Hershey. Saturday we left, and on our way home we stopped at Gettysburg to do some of the touristy stuff there. So the question is staying on property at Hershey worth it? And so I'll give you some insights to our trip as I answer the question. To that is yes, it is worth it. Certainly depending on your budget, but we found a lot of the perks to be very beneficial. The first one is when you arrive, you get a 3-hour park preview instead of the 2 hours. So you get to go into the park 3 hours before it closes the night before you're going to go. We got a 2-day pass is what we paid for. So we got to go for 3 hours before. It helped us to get our bearings of where stuff is in the park. And then we rode just a small handful of rides, but it was, not piping hot. And we rode some of the rides on our list. And then the other perk is you get to go into the park an hour before it opens, before everybody else does. You get to go with other people staying on property, of course, but you get to go and get a preview hour before the park opens to the public. The other thing, you get to take a shuttle to the park. And then, of course, the other thing is proximity to the park. So on the day we did the water park, we were able to go into the water park. Our kids even rode a couple of rides, like with our cover-ups and bathing suits on underneath and stuff like that. But then we went back to the room. We were able to shower, rest, change, and go back to the park without it being a commute and things like that. Okay, hold the phone. This ride was our favorite ride, but definitely had this creepiest queue line with whoever this is. The other reason to stay on property, and specifically Hershey Lodge, is the Waterworks water park at the lodge. On Friday, we scheduled for the kids to just go play in the pool for a couple of hours while Greg went and played some golf, and then we would meet up for lunch and then go do Hershey World. My kids loved the pool, so they didn't want to leave. They were having a blast, so we ended up eating right there at that pool. They have a little bar where you can order some food, and so we stayed there a little bit longer than we had scheduled because it was a lot of fun. So that's definitely some reasons to stay on property if you're able. and to enjoy the perks that Hershey has to
Okay,
offer.
so to reiterate some of the
staying
highlights
on,
of
on
why
one of
you
their
should stay
properties.
on property at Hershey is at the Hershey Lodge, there's a great water park, there's an arcade, they have some restaurants, some places you can eat, they have a nice gift shop. I think one of the biggest perks was the shuttle aspect. It picks you up at the hotel, drops you off right at the gate of Hershey. You get that 3-hour preview night plus an hour in the morning before everybody else gets in. It also gives you some admissions to the Gardens and Museum, of which I have no idea about. We didn't do that. You do get a free chocolate bar at check-in. Some of the things that were just meh, or some things that you can argue against staying there, is that it was hard for us to find a parking spot for our car. The preview night, you still get 2 hours even if you don't stay on property. So we just get 3 hours if you stay on property. And then the 1 hour preview to get in, it kind of gets you in the gate. But then a lot of the really busy, popular rides aren't open. Some of the rides are open, but the one we wanted to go ride, we just kind of got in early and got in line for it because it wasn't open when the park on the early preview hour. The other thing is the service at the hotel. It was not bad, but it wasn't spectacular. And then the rooms, they were fine. They were cute with the little Hershey Kiss pillows, but they weren't anything over the top fantastic. They were just meh. Okay, fine. So that's just a reality of like pros and cons of whether or not to stay on property. But overall, if your budget allows you to do it, I would highly recommend staying on property and enjoying the full Hershey experience. Well, there you have it. Daniels do Hershey lodging tips and tricks. Stay tuned to see what the Daniels do.